What would you be doing right now if you didn't follow your moral compass? Well, at this moment in time I'd be doing the exact same thing. Staying up until 1 AM on Reddit. Simple yet self-destructive. Those are some rookie number, my friend. 3:49 AM here. Me at 7 am y'all are weak. Call and land as a boring old biddy. You are more animal than man. Telling certain patients to fuck off. I want to take care of people, I don't want to be talked down to, yelled at, threatened, lied to for drugs, or so many other stupid things, all while smiling and biting my tongue. As a teacher, is also be telling some people, mostly parents, but sometimes students, to fuck off. There are students who do things that annoy me, or others, without knowing/realizing that what they're doing is a problem. It can get tiresome, but that's part of being a teacher, is pointing that out and helping them learn. But there are also kids who do things on purpose just to annoy me/derail class/bug their classmates. I'd tell them to fuck off. As a teenager, teachers need a lot more respect. Seeing how stupidly other kids treat the teachers, let alone parents. I had a history class where the teacher needed to give an hour-long speech on impulse control to 8th graders, which changed nothing / unless you are actively mean to your students, you have my respect. Also, please take the effort to grade tests. As a student, test scores help me study for finals. I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but I needed to get that off my chest before the semester starts. Probably still waiting for my food at this restaurant. Edit, the food arrived and was fantastic as always. 32 minutes now. Have you received it yet? Don't leave us hanging. Edit, typo. And 13 minutes more passed. I'm slowly starting to worry. I'd be married to a guy who owned his own airplane courier company. He was boring as fuck, but he was rich and into me. I could have used him for his money, but it just didn't feel right. I often think how my life might be different if I married the sugar mama I was dating. Realistically, due to my poor impulse control and my hypersexuality thanks to my borderline personality disorder and PTSD, I'd probably rob as many places as possible, have sex with prostitutes, go back to being an ecstasy addict, and hunt down and kill old friends and family who have broken my heart. Masturbating. Buddy, have I got some news for you. Getting laid. Since I do have a moral compass though, I'm sticking it out in my dead bedroom relationship, hoping that one day, when he's not so stressed out from work, he might actually notice me frown. Yep, this one hits home. At least I've still got Bob. I would be pooping on the lawn of my neighbor who has a Trump flag. Alas, my moral compass won't let me. I'd shit on my neighbor's car who parks in front of our house and is super rude/snarky to us. Park in front of your own house, douche. Also fuck you, we want our yard like this. I'd thinking about having that car towed in the middle of the night. Follow my pleasure instincts. Eat, fuck, give in to anger and probably murder. Greater than fuck, it's not my moral compass that is preventing me from that. You in jail, bro? Same. Literal fraud. Following proper precautions, I imagine it's very lucrative and pretty difficult to get caught when performing credit card fraud, but I can't imagine living with myself when stealing from regular people just like me. This was my non-joke answer. Me and another attorney love thinking up the most outrageous fraudulent schemes. We would never do it because it's wrong. But it's entertaining to think about. I work in banking in the fraud department. It's basically them teaching you know how to get away with it, but mama didn't raise no crook. Murdering people that deserved it. Politicians, CEOs, corrupt cops, greedy rich fucks. I've seen a few similar comments and I think together we could reduce the global population by a noticeable margin. Selling pics online, your girl needs money. Jesus was friends with prostitutes. Go right ahead, cutting drugs. I know some drug dealers and one of them offered me a job cutting/measuring and packing cocaine and heroin, but I turned it down. I would either have to cut it at their place, which is always at risk of being busted while I'm there, or at my place, which I just refuse to do. I have cats, I'm not risking them licking some of that shit up. It's just not worth the risk, and also I don't really want to have a hand in someone else's addiction. I don't do drugs or even drink, because I grew up with a heroin-addicted mother. I don't want to do that to someone else's kid. Till that cats can be useful, probably just rip my sister a new asshole verbally for the most part, unless she gets violent, which she tends to do. She is racist, phobic, I'm out as pansexual, and has stolen from my mum probably about 28 times, and my somehow still lets her back. Sounds like there are no moral obligations preventing you from verbally correcting her behavior. Probably joining the neighbor in fucking his wife while Doom soundtracks are blasting in the background instead of listening to it from the neighborhood while smoking. Open your Hell's Gates, woman. Put some condom with malicious intent. Killing someone. Whole lot of killing in general if there was no moral compass. No, I mean I have a few specific people I wouldn't mind getting rid of. Removed. I'd be a lawyer, heh? I'd be in a car driving away from my kids, leaving my sick wife to deal with the two little lunatics. I'm so exhausted I just want to sleep for 12 hours and not have to break up constant fights / screaming crying about nothing. Yeah, this was my first thought. Just take off and disappear, abandon my family and job. Drain my bank account, take out a loan on the house, cash out retirement and bail. Move to some beach in Europe. Absolutely wrecking some 12-year-old's Minecraft world. Greater than absolutely wrecking some 12-year-olds, that's all I read. Not giving up my life in my city to help my mother have a comfortable hospice in her home. Living like I'm just here for myself. Packing for school. My dad tested positive for COVID this morning, and although I haven't been in close contact, he just got home from vacation. I have to get tested and it's recommended I quarantine 2 weeks regardless of the result. My college move-in day was supposed to be Saturday. I've been stuck at home for so long, haven't seen my boyfriend in months. I was so ready to go, and this setback has me losing my mind, but my moral compass is telling me I shouldn't put people at risk even if there's only a small chance of a false negative. I'm expecting to be negative. I wish everyone else actually took quarantine seriously. Ooh, that's rough. I really hope you don't get it too. I can't say exactly, but it starts with Z and ends with Elling drugs. Oh, you're stopping people from selling drugs. How good and law-abiding of you. Probably still living at home with my Catholic parents. Instead I'm happily living with my transgender girlfriend and sleeping in the same bed while unmarried. The horror. If I had listened to the moral compass I grew up with, I'd still be miserable to the point of considering suicide. Yeah, but there's a difference between listening to the morals prescribed to you and your own internal morals. Obviously your morals were different. Sounds to me like you did follow your moral compass. Just not give a fuck about anyone and stop being nice. If you're stupid, I'll punch you. Modern medicine has gone too far. If natural selection don't cut it anymore, I will. I say the biggest problem with society today is we made a good bop to the nose something to be shunned. If more people knew that by acting a certain way they may end up on the bopped end of a bop to the nose, people would be much more polite. Writing straight up lies on my resume as I look for new jobs. Just show up at your dream job and pretend you've been there for months. Ah yes, the George Costanza playbook. Sleeping around as much as possible because it was fun and the thrill of it is hard to replace. Edit. It's not a morality issue. I'm in a monogamous relationship. I love her very much and we have a good sex life, but you know, those past days were fun too. Shout out to the weird Christian guilt I still have about sex despite ditching that religion at like 14. High school could have been a lot more fun. Definitely get it if you can get it. Exactly the same. Even if I didn't have a moral compass, I'd still have a brain and sense of self-preservation, which means anything that I'd be more willing to do I still wouldn't due to the consequences. I've long since pondered if there is such thing as morals. What we consider moral has changed over time, many times. It's all social constrictions and consequences. And we do have people who do things they shouldn't, but mostly because they feel they can, and for the most part do, get away with it. But if we had no social guidelines, people would give in to their ID and do things we consider immoral. Look at something as simple as slavery. It was perfectly acceptable and not considered immoral before. And it was normal. If you are one to argue we have an internal compass that makes us magically know what is good or bad, then that situation would have never come about. Not to the degree or normalcy it did. So yeah. Morals are a social construct that change over time. Who knows what we will consider moral or immoral 10, 30 or 100 years from now. Greater than morals are a social construct that change over time. I think you answered your own question with this statement. Morals do exist, but perhaps they exist as a social construct. We humans only really survived this long because we're social creatures, and while the level of sociability can vary from one person/culture to the next, cooperation and reciprocity play a large role in our success as a species. Morals, I think, are an extension of this. In order for us to all cooperate and make our society function in a peaceful and fruitful way, there are some things we can't do. You aren't cooperating with people in your own tribe if you're bashing them over the head, Carl. That being said, morality is a messy and complicated thing. You get into subjects such as risk versus benefit, for instance, in human research, objectivity versus subjectivity, culpability, all kinds of shit. That's why it's so heavily philosophized. This made me think a moral compass has close to zero effect on my moderate actions, which are mostly conditioned by shallowness, apathy, fear and social stupidity. I'm not doing anything significantly unethical not because I'm good, but because I'm dull. You okay, bro?